Good evening, everyone. This is a bit of a out of the blue video in regards to the breakaways, top six, power six, whatever you want to call them. I thought I'd come on and have my say about the whole situation. Put it out there in a video so everyone knows the thoughts. It's very hard to tweet it all in one tweet due to the characteristics that you're not allowed. Characters are, the 140 characters, whatever it is on Twitter. So this is Baz Ortiz, NUFC, the so-called Big Six. Welcome. I hope you enjoyed this video and this little bit of a rant, and I hope you're all around about the same opinion as myself. If you're not, please comment, and I will reply to them when I get a chance, because it'll be great to hear other fans' views on this potential breakaway and the Premier League obviously condemning it. The first thing I want to say on the whole thing is this has nothing to do with the fans of the Big Six clubs, so the so-called Big Six, because I don't think the fans want it. I really don't. It'll ruin the English Premier League. I know there's a lot of Newcastle fans that I follow on Twitter have been saying, let them go, let them go. If they want to go, let them go. But if you let six of the biggest clubs in England leave, that has a huge impact on our league in its own. The viewing would go down, the money would go down. It would have a massive effect on the clubs in the Championship and in League One and League Two and non-league. They all rely on the money from the FA that the Premier League brings in, that's distributed down into the other leagues. And yes, we all know, and I sympathise with all the clubs in the lower leagues, that has not been shared out fairly. And I know, the EFL were trying to broker a deal with the Premier League, and hopefully that's still ongoing and discussion, because without the lower league teams, there is no Premier League, because there's no excitement. There's no, Championship, 3 teams coming up, 3 teams going down in the Premier League, and the massive amounts of money that those clubs get, and being in the dream of the Premier League, going to places like Old Trafford and the Etihad, and into the Emirates, to Stamford Bridge, all that ends for them. I mean, you'd end up having clubs like, potentially if we get a takeover, Newcastle, you'll have West Ham, you'll have Everton, Leicester. They're all going to be classed as the big clubs, and Leeds, obviously, a huge club. I mean, this is the thing that gets me, right? How can you say the 6 teams that are being picked are the biggest clubs within English football? Because if you look at the history, Man City aren't a big club. They are now because of the owners, and they started winning things, but they're not the biggest club on history. How can you say Spurs are a massive club? I mean, they are a big club, but I wouldn't say they're the biggest club. Leeds have just come back into the Premier League. They've had that stay away from it, unfortunately, down to poor ownership, which, we're going through that now at the moment. But Leeds' history is huge. Newcastle's history is huge. Everton's history is huge. There's no way that these guys that claim themselves to be the Big Six are the Big Six in English football, because they're not. They're top clubs, don't get me wrong, but they shouldn't be classed as the Big Six. And there's no given right that they should be a Big Six, just because Man City and Spurs have started having a bit of success. I mean, you class Arsenal as a Big Six team, the 9th in the Premier League, 9th. They've just scraped the draw at home to Fulham, who are in bottom 3. I mean, they've done us a favour by getting that equaliser as a Newcastle fan. But Arsenal have been shocking. Leicester have won more Premier Leagues in the last 5 years than Arsenal have. Leicester are also in the semi-final of the FA Cup that's being played right now and could be going to Wembley. And they're in the top 4. West Ham have got a magnificent stadium now, the London Stadium. Why aren't they a Big Six club? They're 4th in the Premier League as it stands. I know they had a bad result yesterday against Newcastle, going down to 10 men. But West Ham have got a great history as well. Great set of fans. And you're telling me these 6 that you're saying are going to sign to break away are the top 6? It's wrong. And I feel sorry for the fans. This is why I'm doing it, because I don't believe The Man United fans, Liverpool fans, Spurs fans, Chelsea fans, Arsenal fans, I don't think they want this Big Six, because you're going to be talking thousands of pounds to follow your club away from home through a whole season. Now, they already do that by going into European competitions, and it costs them a lot of money. But if you've got to do it for every single away game, you're talking about going to Spain, going to Italy, and you've got those fans coming over as well. I mean, how much trouble is there going to be with Italian fans? Instead of trying to get a Big Six and breaking away, how about we end racism in football first? Because it'll just get worse, I think, personally. And that really needs to be sorted first before there's any sort of new league formed. A lot of people are saying, well, if they do go, why don't you bring Celtic and Rangers down? Then you ruin the Scottish League. And we do to Scotland what the Super League's doing to the Premier League. It's wrong. It just shouldn't happen, full stop. And I think if you did a poll on Twitter, I would do one, but unfortunately, I don't have enough fans from other clubs following me, which I would love that to change, because I will follow everyone back who's a football fan. And I want to interact with more of the fans for shows that I want to do in the future, and so on and so on. But if you ask those fans, they do not want this. And the worst thing about this, it's all about greed. Gary Neville was absolutely spot on with what he said. I mean, massive fan of Gary Neville. Wasn't as a player, because he was a Man United player. And obviously, he ruined our title chances that we'll get. But what he said today, live on Sky Sports, about his own club and about the other 5 that are potentially the Big Six, was absolutely spot on. Everyone must watch it. And the only people that all this anger should be directed at is not the clubs itself, it's those owners of those clubs, because they are doing it for pure greed, pure profit. We're in the middle of a pandemic, coming out the other end of it. People have lost their jobs. Taking these clubs out of the Premier League will hit us financially again. Won't hit the clubs financially, because they'll be earning whatever amounts of money they'll be earning. But it'll ruin the Premier League, it'll ruin the Championship, it'll ruin the lower leagues, because the money will get less and less. And all you're doing is making the bigger clubs richer, which kind of what happens in real life at the moment anyway, with Parliament and stuff like that. The rich get rich. But you cannot do it. We cannot allow this to happen. And I am massively on Gary Neville's side. Please direct all your anger towards the owners of the football clubs, because they're the ones that are causing the issues, not the fans, not the clubs themselves. It's the owners who are just greedy, and it needs to stop. Hope you agree with what I said. I say please drop a comment and I will get back to you. And yeah, thanks for watching.